Welcome to the Period Besties Podcast with Stasha and Katie. Think about it as chatting with your best friends about all the TMI stuff you've never talked about before with two period coaches who've been helping hormones collectively for over 20 years now. I'm Stasha.
And I'm Katie, and we're pulling back the curtain on what it's like in the world of menstrual coaching. From puberty to menopause and everything in between, we're here to show you how period coaching can save the day. We'll share practical tips and information you can put to immediate use to improve your hormones and happiness.
We're removing the mystery, ending the taboo, and shining a light on just how powerful period coaching can be.
So whether you need period coaching or are considering becoming a period coach yourself, these episodes are going to help you. We'll share stories, coach live on air, and bring smart, savvy guests to share their wisdom too. Let's start today's episode.
Welcome to the Period Besties Podcast. Today we're talking desserts. Now, we've done a whole series of back to school, getting those foods together for the new season, things to make your life easier. But we couldn't talk food without diving into dessert, right? It's just, how do you resist a dessert? So today we're going to talk to you, sharing some of our tips and tricks to make dessert easier, more fun, healthier, and a little less intense on the blood sugar. So one of the things to bring it back to that very first episode where we talked about back to school and our favorite top 5 tips, one of the things we talked about in there was balancing blood sugar. And one of those things is having dessert after you eat. So rather than having the afternoon snack being a sweet treat where you haven't eaten a meal and you're on an empty stomach, or having dinner and then waiting hours later to have dessert, having your dessert close to when you've had your meal so that you have all of that fiber and healthy fats and proteins to help slow the absorption of your delicious dessert can really help with that blood sugar thing going forward. And it keeps it a little further away from bedtime. So it helps to keep it from disrupting sleep. So sometimes sugar can help, it can really disrupt your sleep. I know I'm one of those people. So if you can bring that dessert a little bit forward, close to dinner time, it keeps it a little further away from bedtime. So that's just our first tip out of the gate. Even if you want to eat the same desserts you've always eat and they have never changed, and you have no desire to change, and it's an ice cream sundae every night, bring it a little closer to after you finish dinner so that you have that buffer and then getting it a little further away from bedtime. So without having it to change anything, that's just my number one tip out of the gate.
It's such a good tip and something I tell my clients all the time, and it works. Like if you're having a hard time either falling asleep or you're waking up in the middle of the night, it's your blood sugar. So definitely have dinner, have dessert. We do that every night. We always have dinner, and then I always have something with chocolate. And that will be my first favorite tip. Chocolate is like real chocolate, like cacao that doesn't have added sugar to it. It's great. It's full of magnesium. It's full of iron. That's what the true aphrodisiac of chocolate is. It's the cacao. I love it. So I always look for chocolate bars that have 80-ish% of that cacao. And my favorite combination is chocolate and peanut butter. So I'll take a little piece of the chocolate bar and then I spread a ton of peanut butter on top. So I'm also getting protein and fat with my sweet treat. And it's divine. I usually do that every night. Some things that I like to make, you won't be surprised, they all have chocolate in it. But I love making these raw macaroons, which is just like cacao, coconut oil, either honey or maple syrup, and some shredded coconut. I make them into little balls. They're so chocolatey that I'm satisfied with one at the beginning of my cycle. When I'm like deep luteal, I need 2, let's be real. But it's so decadent that it really does satisfy. It almost feels like fudge in a way, but they're really easy to make too, which is great. I have this recipe that I'm dying to try that a friend sent me the other day. They're peanut butter swirly cups, and they're so easy to make. It looks like it's 2 cups of melted chocolate. So I can do my cacao. with 2 tablespoons of coconut oil. And then you add a cup of peanut butter and you melt that along with coconut oil too. And then you put them in either the muffin tins with, oh God, what are those called? The muffin, not wrappers. What are those?
Oh, the little like cups.
Muffin cups. Yeah.
Or
So
whatever.
it doesn't stick. Or you get, what did they say that would be better? Maybe oh my God. You can tell I don't know
Silicone
what.
thing would be really good. Like even a silicone ice cream.
Yes, silicone. That's what it was. Yeah.
Yeah.
They still have muffin cups. So you could do that instead of getting the muffin cup liners, the liners.
Yeah.
But because it would definitely stick. You can't just put it in a muffin tin. It would definitely harden and stick really.
It sounds exactly like the dessert I used to make for clean dinners. I always had and actually I sold them at the juice bar, as they just were always there in the juice bar as one of their sweet, healthy treats, where I did that exact same thing. I did a dark chocolate melted with coconut oil. And then because I was selling them for people, I bought a bunch of those silicone different shapes. So I had roses and flowers and cute shaped ones.
Cute.
But I would line them with the dark chocolate. And then while that was cooling, I would do peanut butter and a sugar-free, weird oil-free, weird thing-free, just peanuts, peanut butter and coconut oil to thin it out just a little bit. Sometimes I blended it with cashews as well, just to give it a little extra sweetness and creaminess. And then I would put that in the middle and then I'd cap them with the chocolate. So they were kind of like a really fancy peanut butter cup.
I love peanut butter cups, but
now much healthier, much fancier. And I would make huge sheets at once, right? So it would take me an afternoon, but I would make 100 at one time and then sell them at I sold them at clean dinners at the farmer's market booth. And then they had a permanent place in the juice bar's little treat section. So
that's awesome. Yeah. And honestly, Trader Joe's has the best peanut butter, the unsalted peanut butter. There's just peanuts in it. I just love peanut butter. I've tried almond butter. I've tried cashew butter. They're fine, but I'm
the same. We joke because Chris is from Europe. I just don't understand the peanut butter thing. Peanut butter cup. We get the Trader Joe's dark chocolate mini peanut butter cups as little treats in the house, and he likes those, but he's just, I don't understand the peanut butter and jelly sandwich. I don't understand that. I just don't understand all of the peanut butter stuff that you all do.
Do they not do peanuts over there? Like peanut butter?
The peanut butter thing is not a thing over there. I mean, it might be now. 40 years ago, 50 years ago, when he was a kid, that was not a thing. So
yeah, because my mom loves peanut butter. We just grew up eating peanut butter. I don't know how I would have gone to school because all I ate in elementary school every day was
have real meals in Europe. Like when they went to school, they had an actual chef made lunch. So in elementary school, they would have pate and cheese. Like they had cheese plates as part of lunch in France. It was just part of growing. And so a French kid's meal was a cheese plate and apples and pate, and they had they still do. They still, most of the schools have actual chefs that make food. It's not just like this frozen random leftover scraps that come and then you have to pay for it. And if you're a poor kid, then you just go hungry, like in America. Everyone eats really well. They eat really good, high quality food. It's made by chefs. It's phenomenal. Every time I see something from his childhood, I'm like, oh my God, you guys, Americans need to get out of our country and realize that we're the only country that eats this way. And we don't, they pay the same amount in taxes as we do. It's perfectly possible. Anyway, side rant. So peanut butter is a thing for me, for sure. I love it.
I love peanut butter. I'm just in shock. I'm like, he missed out.
No, he did not. He did not miss out. We missed out.
No. But like just the peanut butter, not the meals, not the sandwiches, but like just the peanut butter.
So true. Every now and then I'm like, I'm just going to make a peanut butter jelly sandwich for the trip. And he's okay. I'll just bring an apple and some chips.
I don't like peanut butter. I never liked peanut butter and jelly. I just wanted peanut butter.
Yeah. I mean, I love it. I eat an apple with peanut butter as a snack a lot, a banana with peanut butter as a snack a lot. But I will say baked apples is a big dessert.
Yes.
That's the one that both of us agree on. I grew up in New Apple, which is one of the capitals of the US. the West Coast and the East Coast, and upstate New York especially, has a ton of apples. So we both grew up eating a lot of apples. He also grew up not too far from an apple orchard. So we do a lot of baked apples, which I like because you don't have to add any sugar to it. It's just, you literally just bake an apple, and it's delicious as it is. But if you want to get fancy, you can add nuts and seeds or a dollop of peanut butter or whipped cream or cinnamon, or you can get fancy with it, a little scoop of ice cream on top, something like that. But just baked apple on its own is dinged delicious. And we do a lot of apple crumbles, as they're just really easy to do as well. And then, of course, he loves to make apple desserts, the tarte tatin with the apple flip thing that you normally make with a puff pastry, but we do with a pie crust because gluten-free puff pastry is an Olympic level baking skill that neither of us have. Although I did see on one of the gluten-free subreddits that there was a gluten-free puff pastry in the freezer section at somebody's grocery store. So now I'm starting to look for it. But we do love a good baked apple or baked sweet potato with cinnamon and cream, or a little mini scoop of vanilla ice cream or something like that on top. But just, especially when I'm getting into deep luteal and I'm trying really hard to be good about my sugars, just a baked apple or a baked sweet potato with vanilla and cinnamon on top and a pat of butter absolutely does it for me.
Yeah. I also really love dried fruit. So after dinner, sometimes I'll get either some raisins or, oh my God, I love dried apricots or dried mangoes. And I'll do it usually I want to eat dried fruit all the time. I try to keep it after a meal so my blood sugar is more stable, but I love doing that. And I've been really into like full fat Greek yogurt lately with sliced bananas and some slivered almonds. That's been something that I've been gravitating towards, which is random because I don't usually eat that much dairy, but all I want to do is have some yogurt.
Yeah.
And having it after dinner feels like a nice sweet treat.
Yeah.
I could never do that in deep luteal, but in the follicular phase, it feels really light and good right now.
Yeah, I do like that. We get the goat yogurt, which is much easier on my digestive system than the cow yogurt, even though you would think the yogurt process is eating up those lactic acids. But yeah, the goat yogurt here for me.
It's so random, not to interrupt, but before I had kids, dairy did not agree with my stomach. I could any amount of dairy, and then I had children, and now I can tolerate dairy better, and it's amazing.
I love it.
We'll see how long this lasts as I'm heading into my perimenopause stage of life, but I'm just enjoying being able to handle and not feel like so bloated and gassy, honestly.
Yes. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I've been doing a little bit of yogurt with berries. And then as we're transitioning into winter, well, it'll be interesting to see if I keep up with it in the winter, because I've really been enjoying it this summer, but it's still warm. It's getting cooler, but it's not, I don't know if it'll be a thing that sticks through the winter, if I'll be done with it, or maybe it'll just be the like little dollop that goes on top of a baked sweet potato in the evening, something like that as a dessert. But also we talked about this before, the sweet potato chocolate pudding is a big hit, which we had in an earlier episode and have the recipe for on the website. So that's always, if you can combine me a sweet potato and chocolate, I'm super in. Love it.
Yeah.
Anything chocolate. Absolutely. I'm with you on that one as well. But yeah, baked fruit, that's very Polish, the baked fruit thing, especially you put a little wine on it. This is a very, very Polish dessert. Is baked fruit and wine is really popular and delicious. So we really enjoy doing that. And yeah, just you basically add cinnamon and vanilla to anything. And to me, it's dessert. So I often use that in place of sugar. I just add a little bit more cinnamon, a little bit more vanilla, maybe a little nutmeg or something like that, and skip the sugar in a recipe. And it will taste decadent and divine. It's not as sweet, but especially when you start reducing the sugars, you start really tasting the natural sugars and things. So there is sometimes as you're switching over, there can be a little bit of, oh boy, this is not sweet. But when you get away from eating those processed white sugars, then those fruits start to taste really sweet and like candy and very decadent. So you have to give yourself a little taste bud readjustment time. But when you do that, you find it really comes out lovely. And one of the other things is that even if we are making a dessert that has sugar, so say it's for a holiday party or something, I just cut the sugar in half out of any recipe right off the top. And then sometimes I cut it even more. So I did a recipe not too long ago where I cut the sugar in half and we were both like, boy, this is still really sweet. Next time you make this, maybe cut it again, use a quarter, or maybe just skip it and see how it goes. So yeah, just, you don't have to use all of the sugar.
Especially like when baking pies with fruit, there's so much natural sugar in that. Like you actually don't really need sugar. I think it tastes better without it because
sometimes we add a little coconut sugar to things, especially for baking for other people. So sometimes we'll add coconut sugar to things for other people, but when we cook for ourselves, we rarely throw sugar in. Well, often one of the things Chris has been doing a lot is he adds in almonds. So a lot of the times when he really likes to make apple pies and stuff or tarts and those kinds of things. So he'll put a layer of like ground almonds on the bottom between the crust and the fruit. And he's been doing that a lot lately. And we have been absolutely loving it. And just taking raw almonds, we have a giant Costco bag. We throw it in the food processor or the Vitamix or whatever's out at the time. Throw a little bit of cinnamon, a pat or two of butter, a little vanilla, and just blitz it like a scoop of coconut oil or something and blitz it. And then just making almost a paste and putting it in the bottom and then putting the fruit and whatever on top. And it has been absolutely divine. So we're really liking that. And then we do the reverse and we make crumbles that way now. And we might even add some oats for a crumble or coconut or little bits and pieces and do the same thing, a little vanilla, a little cinnamon, a little butter or coconut oil or both or whatever is around, blitz it and then put it on top. So a peach crumble or an apple crumble or whatever the fruit in the season at the moment is, and then put that on top as the crumble. More protein, better fats. So you're not eating the flour and the processed things as much, maybe some oats to give it a little extra oomph, or almond flour even as the like flour in it. Cause you just need to stick. You're not using the flour because it's a binder necessarily. And just tossing it on top. And that has made our desserts a lot easier and a lot healthier as well.
I love that. I was going to say that sometimes I'll make like a quick little smoothie just with chocolate, peanut butter, and bananas and whatever milk we have and split it and give everybody a little bit. And then you can't forget about hot cocoa and hot chocolate in the winter. And I mean, any time of the year, but I definitely drink it more when it's cold. But I love doing cacao with some coconut milk and I add cinnamon to it. I'll put some collagen in there, some coconut oil, just getting some like healthy fats and a little bit of honey or maple syrup, depending on, again, where I am on my cycle, because I definitely more sugar closer. So sometimes it doesn't satisfy like that sweet hit that I need. So I'll put like a little bit of honey or maple syrup. I haven't tried the coconut sugar in there. I wonder if that would work better. I don't know, like maybe in terms of having more of a sweet taste, but it's super easy. I just make it over the stove. And then our friend at Flunkit Wellness actually has a hot chocolate that she sent to me and there's maca in it. And that's really delicious too. So sometimes I'll just make hers as that chocolatey. The hard thing with me is once I have something sweet, and most of us, you crave it every single day. So which is why I'm really mindful of just trying to do it like right after dinner. My mom is an amazing baker and she bakes like gluten-free, like pretty much sugar-free, but yummy, delicious cookies. So she was down here last winter and I'm like, Mom, I love you. I love these cookies. You can't just bake all these cookies and drop them off. She'll make these like peanut butter cookies with chocolate chips and she's using all like great ingredients, but I'm like, Mom, you can't do that again this winter. I can't be eating all these cookies just because my brain can't handle it. My body can't handle all the sugar because I barely have sugar.
Yeah. Oh, we had the same problem. I found this really easy pumpkin chocolate chip cookie recipe. And they come out almost like cakey, like they're really good. And because we get all of the pumpkins over the holidays, I roast them, I puree them, I throw them in the freezer. So I have a ton of pumpkin puree that's cheap in the freezer, ready to go. And I made them for the ladies' tea last fall. And they were such a hit that every tea, people were asking me for the pumpkin chocolate chip cookies. So I had to make them for each tea every week. So then I had these pumpkin cookies in the house every week. And it was just like, oh my God, and I was cutting the sugar in the recipe significantly, and everyone was still eating them like crazy. They were very delicious, but they were trouble in the house because they were so good. And I just wanted to eat them constantly, which not the worst thing in the world. If you're going to eat a sweet, at least it's got the pumpkin in it and the fiber kind of thing, but also not necessarily the best thing in the world.
And I have yet to meet somebody that doesn't crave sugar.
No,
it's everybody. As soon as you're born, our pediatrician was like, as soon as a child has anything sweet, their taste buds automatically crave sweetness forever. And I knew that, but then even just witnessing that with my kids, and we're really mindful. We only really go, if we're going to have a sweet treat, we like go out and it's an event. It's an adventure that we do together. We don't keep a lot of that stuff in the house because honestly, I would eat all of it. And then my kids would come home and be like, where's the cookies grandma made? I'm like,
in my belly. No, I can't keep the sweet stuff in the house either because back in the day, sugar wasn't widely available and you needed sugar to operate these giant brains of ours. So we have an addictive quality with sugar because we needed to seek it out. You needed it to survive. So finding the sweet root vegetables, finding the apples, finding the fruits, finding those things, we had that addiction quality to sugar way back in the day because we needed it and we needed to seek it out actively. So we have that addictive trait to sugar because it wasn't easy to get. Now it's so easy to get, but we still have the addiction. We still have the evolutionary addiction to it, to go find it, go hunt it, go get it and eat as much as you can so that you have the sugars. It's one of those things that evolution has not caught up with our industrial revolution. So have that sugar addiction and it's tough. And this is why every January, we all have the worst period of the year because we went and had all of these sugary things. And because of that addiction, we kept eating. We'd have all the sugar for Halloween, trigger that addiction. And then it's tough to get off that roller coaster because then you fall into the Thanksgiving festivities and the holiday parties and Christmas and New Year's and all of that stuff. And every holiday in between has some kind of sweet treat involved. And you get to January and you have the worst period of the year.
Yeah. And you're also like brain foggy and exhausted and like on top of the crampy and the irregular, maybe heavier period. Yeah. I mean, I wrote an article for Reader's Digest about that last year. And editor was like, are you sure this is true? I'm like, yeah, I'm going to interview all these doctors and professionals who can prove that's true. And then she was shocked. She's like, yeah, if I think about it, every January, this is what happens. So you're not alone in all of that. And you're not alone in craving sugar. And we're not saying don't have a sweet treat. Just try to have a healthier sweet treat. So you're keeping your blood sugar balanced. You're not disrupting your sleep because that's what alcohol does too, right? Alcohol has a sugar. It also, your liver is trying to metabolize it. So it's also not good for that, but it's more of that sleep disruptor that we need and not helping. So, I'm not going to have any dessert. I'll just have a glass of wine. I'm like, well, it's pretty much the same.
So if you're going to have a glass of wine, have it at dinner. Don't have it all on solo in the middle of the day or at the end of the night. Have it with the meal or at the end of the meal. Get some food in you first, right? It's like the pre-gaming rules from when you were 20. Eat food and then
lots of water.
Wow. Same rules apply. Just instead of drinking a bottle of vodka, it's one glass of wine.
Yes, please. And like good wine. Not the Boons. I don't even know if they still make that, but I remember.
I'm sure they do.
Oh, goodness. Well, hopefully this gave you some inspiration to just even seek out a different chocolate bar to have at night when looking for ones that use maple syrup and cacao. And when you read the ingredients, it's just chocolate, maple syrup, coconut oil, salt, whatever it might be, versus a whole laundry list of ingredients without any chocolate. Because I think that's the one thing I hear a lot with my clients is like, well, I'm craving chocolate all the time. I can't stop. And then we're taking a closer look and they're not necessarily getting the cacao that's going to actually satisfy the craving. Most chocolate bars are just dairy, sugar that they're manipulating with whatever artificial flavors and different things to taste like chocolate. So if you get the real chocolate, and this is true, this is what used to happen to me. Before my period, I would crave chocolate. I would eat a whole bag of peanut and eat another bag of peanut M&Ms because I wasn't getting the chocolate that my body actually needed. So true experiment on my own life. It works when you just have the cacao as part of that equation. And Trader Joe's sells chocolate bars with cacao. They're pretty much in every grocery store now.
Yeah, skip the Hershey's, Kit Kats, that Snickers section and go for just the straight chocolate bars and then look at the percentage that's in them. And they do have flavors that have a high percentage of cacao. So it doesn't have to just be straight dark chocolate with nothing in it. They do have some great flavored ones these days. But yeah, every grocery store has something just about. So find the good chocolate for sure. And you'll spend less. I know one of the things that people have a moment of is going, oh my God, but that chocolate bar is way more than a Kit Kat or whatever. But you have to have so many more of those. Like you said, I was eating a bag of M&M peanut, and then I was eating another bag of peanut M&Ms because I wasn't actually getting the chocolate. Whereas you can have a couple squares of dark chocolate. You're not even eating the whole bar. You're just eating a couple of squares off of it. And you're feeling that satiation of actually getting the chocolate that you were craving in the first place. And I know like Sprouts does 2 4s on their really good chocolate. So we go over every time they're having a sale on the chocolate and we go buy 4 bars.
Oh, same. Anytime I see my favorite bar on sale, I'm like, yep. Put a lot of these in my cart.
Yeah, exactly. And we love it. So yeah, look for the sales, go find the good stuff. Know that it's one of those situations where you will actually save money in the long run because you're satiating the craving properly and not eating all the other stuff, and it's better for you. So it's a real win-win-win in the long run. So I love that tip. Thank you so much for reminding me of that and sharing.
And I think this was the most delicious episode that we've had about, everything was so yummy, but you throw chocolate in there and I'm all ears. I'm listening and intently.
Absolutely.
So thanks everyone for joining us. We'll see you next time. And we hope that we gave you a lot of great new ideas for breakfast, lunch, dinner, snacks, and now dessert. You'll have to share with us what you tried or what you love to make yourself. Let us know in the comments. I'm always open for finding new recipes and or new chocolate bars that you love at the store. Let us know.
Yeah, please email us, slide into the DMs, pop it in the comments. Just send it over via pigeon, whatever works for you.
And we'll see you soon. Thanks for joining us. Bye for now.
A big shout out and thank you to our sponsors for today's episode, Period Coaching School and Katie Bresek Wellness.
Thanks to you, our favorite bestie, for listening to the Period Besties Podcast, where no topic is TMI. And of course, share this episode with your besties.
Remember to leave us a 5-star review, nothing less than the best for us besties, and subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts.
You can follow us on Instagram at Stasha Washburn and at Katie Bresak, or email us at periodbestiespodcast@gmail.com.
Check out more about us at katiebresak.com and periodcoachingschool.com. And of course, check the show notes for free goodies and extras that support this episode.
We'll see you on the next episode.
Bye for now, besties.